When the HOA fined me for having too many lights on my lawn, they thought they were putting me in my place. What they didn't know was that I wasn't just any homeowner. I was a lighting designer. And if they wanted less light, I was about to give them a show that would make the Las Vegas Strip look dim. This wasn't just payback. This was art. And when it was over, every HOA member would know exactly what happens when you mess with the wrong kind of creative energy. Before I tell you how I turned the entire HOA office into a neon nightmare, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because this is one story that glows brighter with every twist. I moved into Willow Creek Estates 3 years ago, a quiet neighborhood where every lawn was trimmed like a military haircut, and every house looked identical, as if individuality was a crime. For a while I tried to fit in. My wife and I had just gotten married, and we wanted a peaceful place to settle down. I worked as a freelance lighting engineer, designing installations for concerts, hotels, and festivals. It was a dream job that let me experiment with light in ways most people couldn't imagine. During the holidays, I would decorate our home with colorful light displays. Tasteful, elegant, not too loud. But last Christmas, I decided to go big. I wanted to surprise the neighborhood kids, make something magical. I built a synchronized light show set to music, controlled from an app. People from nearby blocks drove over just to see it. I thought I was spreading joy. The HOA saw it as a crime. It started with a letter, the kind written by someone who enjoys the power of a signature more than the meaning of community. "Dear resident," it read, "your excessive use of outdoor lighting violates community regulations. You are hereby fined $500 and instructed to remove non-compliant decorations within 48 hours. I thought it was a mistake. I went to the next HOA meeting to explain that it was temporary, just for the holidays. That's when I met Karen. Every HOA has a Karen, but this one was special. Perfectly styled hair, a permanent scowl, and a clipboard that looked like an extension of her arm. She smiled with her mouth but not her eyes. "Rules are rules," she said. "If we let one person turn their house into a carnival, soon the whole neighborhood will look like a fairground." I wanted to argue, but my wife tugged my sleeve. "Let it go," she whispered. I didn't. I paid the fine, took down the lights, and tried to forget about it. But something in me snapped that day. I'd spent my career creating light shows that brought joy to thousands. And now a group of people with zero imagination was telling me I couldn't even hang a few strings of color in my own yard. I started noticing other things. How Karen's husband parked his boat on the street, violating the same rules she enforced on others. How one of the board members had a fence 3 inches taller than regulation height. How the HOA used community funds for maintenance projects that mysteriously benefited only their homes. Hypocrisy glowed brighter than any bulb I'd ever installed. That's when I decided, if they wanted to control light, I'd give them a lesson they'd never forget. The plan formed slowly, in the quiet hours after midnight. I began by studying the HOA bylaws, every clause and subsection. Most of them were about appearances. Lawns, fences, mailboxes, paint colors, lighting limits. Section 5.3, Exterior Illumination stated, "No external light source shall exceed 300 lumens per square foot or produce excessive glare visible from adjacent properties." It was vague, deliberately so. But what was excessive glare? It didn't define it. That loophole became my weapon. I didn't need to violate their rule. I needed to dance around it. I started small. The next spring, I installed soft solar lights along my driveway, energy efficient and well within lumen limits. Then a gentle glow along my garden path. People complimented it. Even Karen had nothing to say. But behind the scenes, I was building something bigger. In my workshop, I designed custom LED panels, programmed to pulse, shift colors, and project patterns, all controlled remotely. The system was silent, efficient, and technically compliant. My masterpiece was a hidden array that could light up an entire building facade like a digital mural. I kept it quiet until the right moment came. And that moment came sooner than expected. By summer, the HOA had fined me again, this time for leaving my trash cans visible for more than 12 hours after collection. It was ridiculous. Meanwhile, Karen's own bin sat outside for 2 days every week. When I pointed it out, she smiled that condescending smile again. "You're welcome to file a complaint," she said. "But the board reviews those on a quarterly basis." That was the final spark. I decided the next board meeting would be unforgettable. For 2 months, I prepared. I mapped the HOA office. a small one-story building near the entrance of the neighborhood. I volunteered for the community event committee so I could get access to it during setup days. I noticed something interesting. The building's power grid had an unused external circuit originally meant for festive lighting that the HOA never used. They'd even left the outdoor outlet live. That was my in. I built a compact controller disguised as a maintenance timer and installed it discreetly near the circuit box. Then I set up motion sensors and a trigger connected to my system via Wi-Fi. Everything was legal, no hacking, no trespassing. Just clever engineering and public access. The night of the board meeting, I dressed normally, smiled politely, and took a seat in the back. Karen sat at the head of the table lecturing about preserving community standards. Her voice echoed like nails on glass. Then came my turn. I raised my hand. About the lighting regulations, I said calmly. Would the board consider revising them? The current definition of excessive glare seems vague. She gave that smirk again. If it bothers you, maybe this isn't the right neighborhood for you. The room chuckled. That was my cue. I opened my phone and hit the trigger. Outside, the HOA office exploded into color. Not literal explosions, but the kind of dazzling brilliance that made everyone gasp. The building's exterior lit up with synchronized LEDs, waves of blue and gold rippling across the walls, spelling out words like, "Welcome to Vegas HOA, and rules are fun." Music kicked in, Sinatra's "Luck Be a Lady" timed perfectly with the lights. The crowd rushed outside. People from nearby streets gathered, laughing, recording with their phones. It was beautiful, theatrical, harmless, and 100% within legal limits. I'd even measured the lumens. None exceeded the threshold. Karen turned red. She demanded it stop, but there was nothing she could do. It wasn't her property, and technically the lights were community fixtures. I smiled as she sputtered in fury. Over the next week, the video went viral. Someone had filmed the whole thing and posted it with the caption, "HOA gets turned into Vegas." It racked up millions of views. News stations covered it. Reporters showed up laughing at the absurdity. Suddenly, Willow Creek wasn't known for its perfect lawns. It was the neighborhood with the dancing HOA office. Some residents loved it. Others complained. But the damage to the HOA's image was irreversible. Sponsors pulled out of their community improvement fund. Karen tried to sue me, but she had no legal ground. The lights belonged to the HOA property, and I'd used the open circuit. The following months were chaos. The HOA scrambled to tighten its rules, adding pages of new restrictions. But every time they tried, they tripped over their own contradictions. Residents started questioning their authority, digging into finances and exposing years of shady bookkeeping. Turns out the board had been quietly paying themselves stipends from maintenance funds. Once that came out, everything collapsed. Karen resigned, for personal reasons. The HOA was disbanded within the year, replaced by a voluntary neighborhood council. Freedom had returned. I didn't stop there. Every year on the anniversary of the Vegas night, the community hosts a light fest, a celebration of creativity and individuality. Families decorate their homes, not because they're told to, but because they want to. I help organize it, offering my lighting systems for free. The kids love it. The adults laugh. And sometimes when the sky is clear, I swear you can see the colors dancing all the way from the highway. It's not Vegas, it's better. It's home. So the next time someone tells you your dreams are too bright, remember this. No rule can dim your light if you know how to shine around it. And hey, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because I've got plenty more tales of karma, creativity, and sweet revenge that'll light up your day just like this one did. Thanks for watching, and keep shining.